Meow, 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 meow. Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm just going to go dive into all these indicators for all these miners I want to talk about. If you want to know a little bit more about what it means in terms of all these indicators, I invite you to look at the video I just did earlier today on MicroStrategy, Coinbase, and Hood. I spent about 10 minutes going through a lot of these different indicators, how to look at them, what it means. So I'm not going to go through the details. I just want to refer to this video if you'd like to do that so I can speed things through. A couple of things, if you want to look at these scan lines, scan curves, and try to figure out the price target, price prediction, I'm just basically eyeballing it. I want you to really follow the great math speed for a course if you'd like to really learn how to do these things in a very mathematical and precise way. And also I have these whale data down here if you want to really know about the whale whisperer, if you will, is going to be Danny Cheng, who is excellent at using these whale indicators in terms of trying to interpret and whisper to you in terms of what the whales are doing. I'm just going to dive right into it, looking at CleanSpark over here, monthly chart to start off with. What you're really seeing here with the Ichimoku cloud and also the Tsubichi cloud here too. I'm going to show you we're right squeezing between the range at the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud and the Tenkan Kijun line over here. You had a bullish cross of the Tenkan Kijun in February 2024, which tells you most likely you're going to have a bullish continuation moving forward over the next 6, 12 to 18 months or so. And what you're seeing here, price just basically squeezing, back tested the Tenkan over here, found support. It's just been squeezing between these two levels over here. The bottom of the cloud right now is around 18. The Tenkan line over here is around 14. It's just been squeezing around here for about 4 or 5 months, consolidating, building up a lot of energy. What's happening in terms of the Tsubichi cloud, you're basically seeing the same thing, bullish cross over here in March of 2024, squeezing between the Tenkan and the Kijun line over here as support over here for the month of April, as well as for May and March. It bounced off right off the Tenkan, right? And it's underneath the Tsubichi cloud over here, getting squeezed in between the two area over here. If you're going to look at the Bollinger Band, tells you that there's actually a very nice Bollinger Band expansion to the negatives. So this is a pretty powerful bull trend overall. The Bollinger Band on the upper part is still expanding. I think the upper Bollinger Band is probably going to end up serving as a magnet around 20 bucks. And because of that, most likely is going to end up pushing through the Ichimoku cloud. And it's also probably going to end up pushing through the Tsubichi cloud here, given due time, right? I think it just needs to get to 20 to really push through. And the upper Bollinger Band is really allowing us to really get there. But it's just a matter of momentum. Right now, we're stuck in a range. We're still trying to gain some momentum and try to push through. We're not quite there yet. Looking at the MCDX, we do have a little bit of whales leaving, but again, things happen. Whenever you have an uptrend, sometimes the whales want to take profit and they just want to cool things down here a little bit. But these things can change in a hurry. Next thing you know, all it takes just a little bit of volume for whales to really try to push price a lot higher. So this really hasn't really quite happened quite just yet. But I think this consolidation move over here is actually very, very similar to this consolidation move over here. 20-month moving average is still pointing up. I'm not really seeing any significant bearish divergence here on the monthly. So most likely you're going to end up having bullish continuation. The upper Bollinger Band is going to serve as a magnet around 20 bucks. It's probably going to end up dragging price a lot higher over time. Okay. Once you enter the monthly Ichimoku cloud, you really don't have Ichimoku cloud resistance until all the way up to maybe, depending on where it exits the cloud up here in the year of 2024, then it could hit potentially around the mid 70s before finding resistance. Or if it ended up hitting the cloud down here, then it might be $40 before it hit resistance, so on and so forth. So we'll see what happens, but whales are still in and no bearish divergence that I can see. On the 2-week chart, you can see a very, very bullish development over here, where you basically just have price consolidating sideways on a very nice bull flag above the Ichimoku cloud. Above the Ichimoku cloud, it broke above the Ichimoku cloud on very high volume, and this consolidation so far has been on declining volume. And eventually, it did backtest the Kijun line over here, and eventually it's probably going to end up getting dragged up with the Tenkan up here for price to go up a lot higher. Price has been consolidating sideways for a very long time. You're really talking about inside candles in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 over here inside this candle over here. What do the inside candles mean? It just means consolidation on declining volume. What it means is that eventually it's probably going to pick a trend, and if the trend has been bullish, it's just been forming higher highs and higher lows, most likely the trend is going to be continuation of that trend, which is going to be upwards. so far we did have a lot of resistance over here just because things have already kind of speed up way too far, way too fast. You need consolidation here for a few months. So what? Whales are still in. There's not much retail over here. And you also, I'm not really picking up any bearish diversions over here on the RSI either. So far it's looking pretty favorable. On the 2-week chart, the Super cloud is basically telling the same story, is basically breaking through the cloud here on high volume and backtesting the top of the cloud, backtesting the kitchen, found the backtest. So far, you really have the Tenkan line, the blue line over here, serve as very, very good support, allowing price to potentially go up higher after this consolidation period is over. Now, very nice so far, right? On the weekly, the whales are cooling down. You can tell in short time frame, you already knew that, right? Short time frame consolidation, whales are cooling down. There's presence of some retail here, although they're not really that significant. And sometimes things can change in a hurry. All it takes just a little bit of increase in whale, and they could just come in with inflow like crazy and push price up a lot higher on some volume, right? This downtrend consolidation over here has been on declining volume. And every single time when you have these buying volume over here, the volume is higher. So it tells me most likely this is a reaccumulation range and probably going to end up pushing price a lot higher over time. You did have some bearish divergence over here where price went up and RSI went down. But I think that's already played out. Like the RSI has already cooled down. So there's not really any significant bearish divergence really left that I can see, allowing price to go higher over time. If you look at the Ichimoku cloud, again, kind of squeezed between the two ranges. This is why it's been very, very painful for CleanSpark over the last couple of months, because it's just been squeezing between the Tenkan and the Kijun, trying to consolidate underneath. It's squeezing pretty hard over here. Eventually it's going to pick a direction, and the direction, if you ask me, most likely is going to be bullish continuation to go up. Can it go down? Certainly, but I go with the trend. The trend says probability is probably going to get going up higher after consolidation is over, right? You put the Super Ichi over here. What the Super Ichi is going to tell you is very similar things. It's just basically consolidating over here in this range, so it's not really telling you too much. What's interesting is the Bollinger Band looks like it's squeezing. It's probably going to end up picking a direction up pretty soon because price is really consolidated for about 3 or 4 months straight, and because the consolidation, you're going to end up having a lot of energy that's being built up, and it's going to end up forming an expansion. It's going to pick a direction. It's going to be a little more powerful, either move up or move down, and it's happening soon. We'll see which way it picks, right? You know which way I favor. And the Bollinger Band will show you that this is bull market support band. In a bull market, is back tested as support before going up higher. On a bear market, it back tested as resistance and go down lower, right? We see a trend change over here around early 2023, and since then the bull market support band, when it points up and serves as support, it looks like it just wants to push price higher over time. Right now we're still back testing the bull market support band. It's been very, very painful sideways so far as a result. We'll see what happens after this picks a direction, but I think the direction, based on what I think Bitcoin is doing, most likely this is going to end up going up. It's a little bit of cheat code actually to have Bitcoin to kind of know what to expect moving forward. I'm going to put up the GAN here. On the GAN, I think it's probably best to look at it on the 2-week chart. Let me pull up some of the volume stuff over here. What you're seeing here on the GAN is that for the bearish cycle, it's just been really breaking down through all these arcs, trying to find these angles and horizontal zones to backtest. And then the bull trend, backtest the arc, backtested the horizontal zone over here, got rejected, pushed through, rejected at the arc, back down, couldn't hold the angle, but eventually was able to loop back up, push through the arc, and it's going up higher to the next arc. Right now it's stuck inside the arc over here. If the Bollinger Band is anything to tell you anything about, most likely it's going to end up squeezing one way or another. Most likely it's going to be up because it's a bull trend. In terms of what the potential price target, if you look at the Fibonacci levels over here too, you can also see that CleanSpark has been very much respecting all these Fibonacci levels. For example, 0.136 here, resistance flip support, right? 0.3236 over here, so resistance over here. And so far, price is kind of stuck underneath the 0.382, which is also confluent with the monthly Ichimoku cloud area as resistance. And, I think most likely, given enough time, enough consolidation, again, the weekly wells haven't really left, and there's not really any bearish divergence for me to really worry about anymore. I think most likely the price is going to end up pushing higher. If this pushes through the arc up here, is going to be the low 20s, go up to the mid 20s. If it's able to fit through the low 20s to mid 20s, you're really talking about up here around the 70s. And you remember the top of the Ichimoku cloud was also in the 70s, right? So if you're able to push through that arc, it's going to get to 100. Again, all these are resistance. There's no guarantee it's going to push through higher, right? But if you push through these arcs over here, it's going to get to maybe 130, 140 range, maybe even 150 at the 618. If you push through that, can it go crazy and go to like 400? I doubt it. And you also have a very, very important like angle resistance over here. I doubt it's going to end up doing that. But these are just some things to kind of think about. Each of these arc over here, which is line over here, is going to be resistance. So I would probably take price one at a time. Let's break through the 20s here first, and then we'll see what happens. I do think that based on what I'm seeing, I do think the cycle is going to at least probably hit this arc over here around 70. Could it go a lot higher to these crazy 3-digit targets? Potentially, right? But we'll see about that. So that's CleanSpark. I'm going to go through the other ones here. One that everybody likes. Not everybody, necessarily. Some people hate this stock. Especially nowadays because it's been consolidating sideways for about 5-6 months. Everybody hates this stock now. Mara monthly chart, pull up some of the indicators here, kind of show you what it is doing. The Ichimoku cloud on the monthly, you can see that price is simply trying to get back above the Tenkan line over here. Tenkan line right now is at resistance, it's at 20.63, and it looks like we've been having a hard time trying to break above that for months now, for like a couple of months now, right? But you do have the benefit of having the Kijun underneath of that as support, so that's good. Right now it's kind of stuck in the range, right? If you're able to break above this area over here in the low 20s, it's probably going to end up hitting the the bottom of the cloud, either around like 30 if it hits up here, or potentially 40 if it hits over here. Depends on how powerful this next move is going to be if it ends up going up. Right? All of these things are all speculations. But that's what I'm seeing. I think Mara is stuck in range. Stuck in range really from here to here. I'll show you some Fibonacci level here. It's like perfectly stuck in range here and here. But right now it's stuck in a micro range between the Tenkan and Kijun here on the monthly. If you pull up the Super Ichi cloud, same thing, stuck in a range between the Tenkan and the Kijun, right? So it needs to break above this range, and you're going to see that the mid-20s could potentially be some resistance zone over here. And after it breaks above, most likely next resistance, it's going to be like maybe in the 40 range as I showed you earlier, but the Tsubishi cloud is not really telling you that. The next thing to look at is the Bollinger Band. The Bollinger Band, what is it doing? It's been expanding, but it's contracted a little bit because of this consolidation zone that's been happening for about half a year, getting everybody really frustrated. So what happens next is you're probably going to end up having potentially a Bollinger Band expansion. Mara is good. It's very beautiful to look at because you also have last cycle to look at. It's been around since the last cycle here as well during the bull market. So you can see this area over here in terms of initial expansion and contraction here looks very similar to the initial expansion over here, followed by a little bit of contraction here, followed by a full expansion that could come soon whenever you end up having a parabolic bull trend if it turns out to be that. Looking at Bitcoin, I think that's going to be the case for Mara. How high is it going to go? We'll talk about that. 20-month moving average is still pointing up. Overall, if you're talking about cycle, and Ichimoku cloud also tells you the same thing. You have a bullish Tenkan Kijun crossover here in February 2024. You have a bullish Tenkan Kijun crossover here in September 2020. In 2 months later, big giant green candle. Over here so far, it's been about 4 months. This is the 4th month over here. Are we going to get a bigger giant green candle go up potentially because of this bullish cross? That is yet to be determined. We need to break above the Tenkan over here first before we are able to determine that. But looks like there's a lot of similarities between over here, sideways consolidation, and over here, sideways consolidation, as well as you look at the Bollinger Band, also very similar morphology over here, underneath the upper Bollinger Band, and over here underneath the upper Bollinger Band with the Bollinger Band initial expansion and contraction. Looks like it's building a little bit of a bigger move moving forward. Looking at the MCDX Plus indicator over here, you can see that whales are increasing over the last couple of months. The retail percentages are slowly decreasing. Right now you have more whale presses than retail. So this is a very, very bullish kind of setup over here. You can have a little bit of cool down before pushing up. I don't think that's big of a deal. I just want to see this trend overall going up and the retail trend overall going down. It looks like that's what it's doing. If you look at the RSI, no significant monthly bearish divergence that I can see. Pretty decent chart. Looking at the 2-week over here, you can see right off the bat, I'm going to put up the Ichimoku cloud, and it's going to tell you that price is stuck, right? You remember price is stuck on the monthly underneath the Tenkan. Price also stuck here on the 2-week chart underneath the Kijun, which is going to be around 20.6, just at the same area, basically. Above that, you're going to have to hit about 25. That's going to be resistance zone, and above that's going to be around, like, again, 42, right? But it's very, very consistent. If you look at the CIFR Cloud, it tells you a little bit of a very same picture here, stuck in range between the top of the cloud, actually a little bit higher over here. I'll show you what that range is. And it's also stuck underneath here at the Kijun. You had a bullish cross over here too, but it's basically been backtesting Kijun and found support, and it's bouncing above back the Tenkan over here. This is a bullish development for Mara. If you look at the weekly chart, look back at the 2-week chart here, you still have a significant presence of whales. It's been increasing. Retail is still there. It's decreasing. It's not quite bright red yet over here on the 2-week, unlike the monthly, but so far you have increasing whale presence. So I think eventually this is going to turn into bright red whenever you start to get a little bit more of a, how do you say that, a little bit of a breakout move over here, which could happen at some point. Looking at the weekly, why do I say that? Well, because you start to have a little bit of a squeezy bullish band over here, you're potentially having a little bit of more of a significant move that could be coming, right? If you look at the Ichimoku cloud, what it's going to show is it's been stuck in a range between the Tenkan and Kijun. That seems to be the story for Mara. It's still stuck in a range. It's trying to wait for some powerful signal, some powerful whale movement, maybe some powerful volume to really come in. So far, volume has just been declining over here for the last few months. We're still waiting for the next move, and price just been stuck between the range. Now, if you look at the CIFR cloud, very, very nice story here, and it break through the CIFR cloud on high volume, back tested it, found support, went up, got stuck in the range, rejected, back tested it again. So far, able to find support over here. It's going to ride up along the cloud, maybe to go up higher. It looks like this area might be the friction that might push the cloud up, push the price up higher from the cloud, right? Whenever this consolidation period is over. How do I favor bullish trend? Because the MCDX, we see a lot of increasing whales over here and declining retail over here. And this whole thing right here looks like reaccumulation at this range up here and down here. To kind of get rid of the CIFR cloud over here, if you look at the bull market support band, it's claiming that it's really been turning the bull market support band flat on its way to potentially flip it from resistance down here back to support on its way up. Whales certainly seem to tell the tale. Consolidation, go to pick a direction soon. I'm going to pull up the GAN here that I did, and what you're going to see here with the GAN is that we have the last cycle over here to kind of look at, right? It's just been breaking arc and arc and arc, and when you got exhausted, it's going to break through underneath, broke through this arc over here, been graphing between this arc here for quite some time, and it's been finding some support down here from the arc, and it went up higher, found some support here at the angle over here. Next zone is going to end up challenging, probably going to be around 40, right at the bottom of the arc over here. Again, a lot of confluence around here, around the zone. Can even go up to the 0.5 around 43 to wake up here, maybe getting rejected. You're going to have traders like the rate mass speed is going to end up taking profit right around here probably. It's going to end up getting rejected, trying to back test maybe the zone over here, and maybe even lower, and then maybe even at the 0.382. And you can see price actually been stuck over here for about 6 months between the 0.136 and the 0.382, like almost perfectly, right? This whole thing right here looks like an expanded flat if you're into a wave kind of thing. But the next thing it's going to do is has to push about the 0.236 resistance level around 22. Again, a lot of confluence over here. We're at resistance from Mara. Once it's able to break back above, maybe the upper 20 is going to have some resistance, mid 20 is going to have some resistance. After that, you're really talking about the mid 30s to 40. It's going to be like really the next range up here. They could get rejected, back test some stuff before going up higher. What happens if it ends up going up higher this cycle? If it ends up doing that, maybe the top of the arc over here around 50, maybe the top of this horizontal line up here in the upper 50s. If you able to break about this range up here, if it slides through it like butter like it did the last cycle, it just slides through an arc like it's butter, like it's not even there, it could go a lot higher. Next arc up here is really in the 200s. And I don't want to make you crazy, but next line up here is around 200s, which is actually not unexpected. We end up hitting like 2.618 in an irrational bull market cycle. It can hit like some of these Fibonacci extension level at 1.618 or 2.618 around 200 is possible, but it has a lot of resistance that it needs to break through before it gets there. That's Mara. How am I doing on time? Ooh, man, let's go through the other ones, but maybe not so much in so much detail. Bitfarms look very similar to Mara. I call it exaggerated Mara. It's basically, if it's going upside, it moves a lot higher. If it's downside, it moves a lot lower. If you just look at the morphology over here, it looks like we have a Treaser bottom over here between April and May. Very nice look to it. Whales have also been increasing. You also have decreasing retail over here. You see how everybody got all scared around April and early May? You know, whales been just coming in. How silly, right? No bearish divergence over here on RSI. If you're looking at the Ichimoku cloud, you have a bullish cross over here. Is that resistance? The Tenkan line over here is resistance, is at 2.41. We are at 2.41 today. We closed at 2.41. So is that resistance? If we were to pick above this resistance, we could potentially hit like the low fours. That's going to be the next target potentially. Looking at the Ceviche cloud, stuck inside a range. You might have some resistance over here at 3. Right? That's going to be a resistance that got rejected from last time. So again, so far though, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Very, very nice channeling up over here. I wonder if this channel is going to potentially turn into a parabolic move. We'll see. Whales are in. Again, no bearish divergence here on the monthly. Right. On the 2-week chart, what do you see? Let's pull up the Ichimoku cloud. Is inside, it's getting rejected right here so far at the Kijun. The Kijun is 2.41, right? A lot of confluence over here. If you look at the Ceviche cloud, it's going to tell you a little bit of even more story here. It's been bouncing inside the cloud, bounced from the Kijun over here. Bounce got rejected from the top of the cloud, formed a little bit of a tweezer, went straight for like really like, you know, two months in a row, 3 months in a row. Bounce from the bottom of the cloud, back up. Now it's challenging the Tenkan over here. Still had a bullish cross, still intact, right? Whales, what did they do here on the 2-week chart? It light up over here, right? Whales gotten stronger. I'm not really seeing any bearish diversions over here. I think there's a lot more room for price to go up, maybe get to the top of the cloud and even go higher. We'll see. Since we're here at the weekly chart, I'm gonna put the Bollinger Band a little bit squeezy, a little bit not crazy squeezy, but a little squeezy. Here on the 2-week. Now going to the weekly, let's look at what happens on the weekly. You have a lot more whales going in. Retail has been really decreasing. I am not really seeing any bearish divergence here anymore. Initially, for price to go from here to here, you have a bearish divergence, but I think a bearish divergence has played out completely, right? If anything, right now, I think right now we're having a little bit of bullish divergence kind of playing out. Price going up like this. RSI have been really kind of just flat. I think we have a little bit of a hidden bullish divergence here going on. Whales been coming in. Very promising so far. Ichimoku cloud, it couldn't even really bounce from the top of the cloud. It didn't even want to touch it. It just kept on going, avoiding the cloud, staying above the cloud, stuck between the range over here, between Tenkan and Kijun. May still have a little bit of headwind ahead before going up. The Super Ichi cloud tells you even a better story, right? High volume breakthrough of the Ceviche cloud, backtest, found support, bounced. Looks like it's probably going to end up bounce from the cloud, maybe even go higher from here. Could it end up backtesting the cloud again before it went higher? All these are a possibility, right? But you have support right now. Again, whales are coming in. I'm not really seeing any significant, bearish diversions here on the weekly. Where's the bull line support band doing? Is reclaiming the bull line support band here from resistance to support. All of these are very bullish development here for Bitfarms. They put up the GAN over here that I drew together with the Fibonacci levels. Turn off the volume so it's not as noisy. But 2-week chart is generally a little nicer to look at. Right now, it looks like we are bouncing through from arc to arc, breaking arc to arc, back testing from arc to arc, back testing an angle down here. We're at the top of this arc over here again as resistance, right? Around this very important Fibonacci level here in 0.236, we're at resistance. Once it's breaking above, we're going to reclaim the level up here, which is a 0.382, around 3.8. Price has just been stuck between these arcs over here and these Fibonacci levels at the 0.382 and the 0.136, right? That's what it's doing right now. We need to break above the arc before going up here back to the Fibonacci level. Once we're able to do that, probably going to go to 0.5, which is going to be in the high 4s. And above that, you might have some additional arcs up here to hit. We'll see whether or not it ends up slicing through all these arcs like here, like the last cycle. If it ends up being very parabolic, if the whales really truly are coming in and trying to pump the market higher, which certainly looks like that's the case, but we'll see. If it pushed back above all these Fibonacci level, the most important one is going to be 0.618. And there's going to be confluent with this arc over here. If it's able to break above the 0.618 and these arcs over here, where it's going to go? It's going to go to mid-teens. It's going to go to even higher, maybe 20. The arcs over here is like the low 20s. That could be the end of the cycle, right? Which is not bad. Could it go higher? Could it go up to like 60? Probably not. All right. Could it go hit some of these higher Fibonacci levels here and get rejected and back test and fail and go down? Possible, right? Can you go up to the 30s? Possible. Anything's possible. But before we go there, there's a lot of resistance that needs to break before we get there, if it gets there this cycle. But whales are in, looking promising. So that is Bitfarms. I'm going to move on to CIFR, one of the stock that I own. I actually like the look of this stock here. CIFR looks pretty decent. Still, even the price has done nothing over the last few weeks. A lot of people are really, really frustrated with it, probably. I don't care. It's a bullish look. Follow the trend. What kind of trend is it? It's a bull trend. How do I know it's a bull trend? Ichimoku Cloud, bullish cross here in January 2024. Price just been kind of stuck between the Tenkan and Kijun. You see why price is not moving up higher. This is being rejected so far at the Tenkan at around $4, right? I think it needs to reclaim $4, maybe even back test as support. Next swing, the big resistance is really going to be around 550 because it's been forming a very, very nice cup in a smaller cup in hand, whatever you call it, cup in smaller cup. This is a very nice accumulation pattern over here. You know how I know it's accumulation pattern? Look at the volume. Buy volume up, sell volume down. Buy volume up, sell volume down. Buy volume is pretty decent. Consolidation, right? The volume just been declining. While this consolidation happens, what's happening to the whale? It's been increasing. It's been increasing steadily. What's happening with retail? It's been decreasing steadily, right? On the monthly chart. No bearish divergence. Very important. If you look over at the CIFR Cloud, this one's probably not going to tell you too much, except for the fact that Tenkan has been serving a support, which price up all the way through, right? Which is good. What's up here? Around like 770, 760. We'll get there when we get there. We're not quite ready to deal with that level quite just yet. If you look at the Bollinger Band, it's just been hugging the 20-month moving average up. Price has been going sideways for the whole year. You have a little bit of contraction over here. Things are probably going to move up pretty fast when it's ready to go. It's not ready to go yet, but it could be soon. On the 2-week, let me turn off the volume again. Price has been consolidating over here. It's been doing nothing, and volume has been declining. It's picking the next move. You do have a little bit of a weaker whale over here, but again, retail still haven't really significantly, really come in. So whales still seem to predominate this chart. No significant bearish divergence I can find on RSI. It's just been going sideways, right? To pull up some of the indicators here, Ichimoku Cloud has been doing. Yeah, stuck underneath the Kijun line over here, just like the monthly cloud stuck underneath the Tenkan. It's hitting a little bit of resistance, probably why price hasn't really gone up that far for that much higher. But once it breaks resistance, potentially watch out, right? Flipping the Tenkan to from resistance to support here very nicely on the CIFR Cloud, right? Very, very nicely using that as support so far, right? So not looking bad here on the 2-week chart. On the weekly chart, what is it doing? Well, the price has been just consolidating, volume just been declining. So whales are really getting a little bit weaker, but retail is also not very strong. It's actually gotten weaker this week, even though price has done nothing, right? I don't see any bearish diversions here left anymore, really. Things seem to be just kind of going sideways, both in terms of price and momentum. It's waiting for the next move up or the next move down. Bollinger Band getting a little bit squeezy, right? If you look at the bull market support band, is still serving as very nicely as support. It's just been hugging price, but it's still on top of the bull market support band. So all these are bullish development here. Let's look at my best fit can square to kind of see what price could potentially be doing. The best estimation I have, it didn't really have last cycles. There's only one cycle to look at, but for my best ability, I think it's just been breaking arc, back testing arc from one level to another. It's stuck between these two arcs here for a very, very long time. Finally able to break back inside the arc here, at risk for falling underneath the arc again, but so far still finding some support, right? So next move, if it ends up pushing back above, again, where's going to be resistance? It's going to be this confluent zone over here with the arcs, with the horizontal zone, and also a little bit of a horizontal zone over here. If you also look at the volume shove, you can also see that there's a lot of volume over here. This is probably going to be the top of the volume shove over here. If you're able to break above the price on the volume shelf, next price is going to be up here around the volume shelf around $10. You might have some resistance over here. for as far as the Gann square is concerned. And as far as Fibonacci level, again, 0.618 is going to be a resistance level here. So I'm probably going to get getting rejected here a little bit. Maybe even back test some of the levels down here before going up higher if the bull market continues, which I think it will. Then it hits some of these arcs up here. It's going to be around like the mid-teens to high teens. The top of the horizontal zone right here is 17. If it breaks above that, you're really talking about some of the higher levels up here. 1.618, 2.618, around 24, around 40. And some of the arc over here could potentially be where the end of the cycle is if it ends up hitting up to like the 40s and 50s range up here. If it ends up doing that. But again, before you get there, there's a lot of resistance to break through. We're not sure where the cycle is going to go and how far it's going to go. Depending on Bitcoin, looks like Bitcoin's going to do well. So I have a feeling it's probably going to end up hitting some of the arcs up here, around the teens up here is my guess. But we'll see what happens with CIFR. That is CIFR. Gonna get out of CIFR. I'm going to talk about a couple other ones here real quick. IREN. I'm going to pull up the monthly here. And I'm going to speed through this because there's really not a whole lot of price history here. Bullish cross happened, right? This month in June, price above both Tenkan and Kijun. Eventually, there might be a chance it might backtest the Tenkan, and right now it is still at resistance up here. So still a little bit worrisome here. You're going to see a lot of drawings here, but it's still kind of stuck at this big giant volume shelf over here. So we're not out of the woods yet, although it's looking like it wants to break out and it's looking pretty nice so far. But we're not entirely out of the woods yet, but it's turning bullish, right? If you look at the Subishi Cloud, again, you're hearing a little bit of resistance up here, aren't you? The Subishi Cloud 8.82, that's going to be resistance. So far, today's price is closing above that. We'll see whether or not we're able to really use that as flip that as from resistance here to support. We'll see whether or not we're able to do that. If it is able to do that, that's huge. That's going to be huge for a stock. Bollinger Band, nice expansion. This is one of the miners that's expanding without any sign of contraction. Very nice bull trend. What are the whales doing? They're coming in. RSI going up, not overbought by any means. RSI monthly right now is only 50. Not overbought by any means. There's a lot more room for it to go up. Whales are just starting to come in. Bollinger Band is just starting to expand. This is a very nice look to IREN, although we are at resistance, so be cautious. On the 2-week, Ichimoku Cloud, above both the Tenkan and Kijun. Still stuck inside the cloud, but it's no big deal. A lot of bullish development happening on the Subishi Cloud. What is it doing? Some resistance up here around like $11. We'll get there when we get there. So far as resistance down underneath here, Tenkan is now served as support. What are the whales doing over here on IREN? It's been coming in. You knew that price is going up, right? You knew that already. But whales, this confirmed that whales are coming in and retails are really getting less and less significant over time. Weekly chart, look at that whales. No retail can be seen. Big whales, right? You do have a little bit of a bearish divergence over here, but again, like price can go up higher in bearish divergence, which is why I'm saying like we're at resistance. Be a little bit cautious. I think there's potential price could get rejected still, even though whales are in, or it may not be. This time we might be for real, like depending on whether or not the volume really comes in trying to break through this range. If it breaks above, back test it, man, you're talking very, 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 very bullish setup over here. But we don't have that quite just yet. I can't be too bullish on resistance, but the resistance has been attacked multiple times over the last year. So we'll see what happens next. Whales are telling me that good things could potentially happen, but there's no confirmation yet at this point. Ichimoku Cloud, way above, nothing to really look at. Subishi Cloud, stuck inside of Subishi Cloud. Again, top of the cloud over here is around 11. There's really not much to look at over here. The Bollinger Band is squeezed over here, which tells you the big move was about to come, and I think this is the big move that we've had over the last few weeks. And the move is nicely up. Price is a little bit outside of the Bollinger Band over here. We'll see whether or not it ends up needing to cool down or it just keeps on pushing the Bollinger Band and keeps on expanding up higher. And very nice bounce after oscillation on the Boomerang support band. Very, very nice bounce upwards. Very impulsive, very nice look. Again, the only thing is resistance zone right here, as well as a little bit of bearish divergence here to watch out for. So we may not necessarily have the momentum to kind of push up, although whales are saying that they might be ready. That is all those indicators, if you look at the GAN, we did kind of break above the zone over here, did we? If we end up really truly consolidating around this breakout, maybe even back test it down here another time before going up higher, you're talking about the mid-teens over here is going to be the next target, right? And target after that is going to be like the low 20s up here in the horizontal zone. We were talking about after that could IREN end up getting to like 40, 46, or even like 60 this cycle. All these things are a possibility. It's been consolidating for a whole year now. It's been forming a very, very nice bullish look to it, a very, very nice ascending triangle look to it. So if you're talking about the ascending triangle over here, you're really talking about this potentially hit like 20s up here. And if it ends up breaking through again, high 30s to low 40s, and there are even some crazy targets above, but I'm not going to go there. I think minimally we're going to hit this arc right here for the cycle, but there's potential to go higher depending on whether or not we're able to break through this resistance back test and go higher. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Fibonacci level wise, same thing, right? I think most likely it might end up around 1.618. That could be nice, around 40. If it breaks up all this resistance there, it can potentially go higher to the horizontal zone, maybe even wake above to touch the 2.618. All these are possible, but that's IREN. WULF. Let's talk about WULF, shall we? WULF. TeraWulf. Turning off this signal over here. You knew that the whales have come in this week, don't you? You already knew that before I told you, because price went up like 15% today. You already knew that, but they're in. You could be getting a nice bullish cross over here soon. Looks like price has flipped the Tenkan from resistance to support here. And right now the Kijun on the monthly, which is around around 2.47, that could potentially serve as a little bit of resistance, right? But so far it's been turning quite bullish over here. You might end up having a bullish monthly cross, and that could really precipitate for WULF to go a lot higher. Ceviche Cloud, so far hitting resistance, and the resistance is 2.49. Hopefully we can reclaim this to go up higher. So it's still kind of a little bit stuck in a range over here, but whales look like they're coming in like crazy. Bollinger Band, what is it doing? A little bit of contraction expected, sideways for 6 months, right? A lot of energy being built up here. Probably going to end up pushing up higher or lower. 20-minute range is pointing up. Prices on the upper part of Bollinger Band. Whales are coming in. Next trend probably going to be up. Consolidation, volume going down. Meaningless, right? No bearish divergences over here that I can see. Actually, yeah, I probably wouldn't call it a bearish diversion. It's just flat. So far so good, right? So far so good. Looks like it could potentially explode whenever it's ready to go, because whales are coming in. Get rid of the Bollinger Band. Let's look at something else here, the 2-week chart. Nice increase in whales overall over the last few months, even though price had gone sideways. I'm not really picking up any significant bearish diversions over here. Ichimoku Cloud. Entering the Ichimoku Cloud here might end up bouncing up from this range if it ends up hitting bottom of the cloud, right? Flipping the Tenkan again from resistance over here back into support, stuck in the range. Potentially break above the Kijun over here, which is around 2.5 or so. So we're at resistance. We'll see whether or not TeraWulf can break through. Whales look like they want to break through, so we'll see what happens. Ceviche Cloud is still underneath the cloud, but it might gravitate to the top of to the bottom of the cloud over here, where the Kijun is going to be as a confluence zone up here around 3 point something, around 3.5, 3.6, somewhere around there. Weekly, a very nice ascending triangle, isn't it? During this process, volume has been declining. Buy volume up, sell volume down, reaccumulation. Right? Whales have been coming in and in and in. Retail has been really kind of leaving over here. Not really leaving, they're just not that significant. I'm not picking up that much bearish divergences. I think all price needs to do is just kind of break above, and RSI can break above and can negate any potential bearish divergences over here. I'm not really worried about that. I think there's a lot more bullish energy that's being built up. Bollinger Band has been squeezing. A big move is coming up. Gee, I wonder if it's going to be up or down. squeezing like a sphincter. It's going to go up or down. Probably going to go up. Now, bull market support band, serving as support, oscillating around it for quite some time. Serving as a balance over here, isn't it? Looks like it's probably going to end up going higher. That's what I'm seeing with TeraWulf. Looking pretty nice, but again, is that resistance, right? I cannot be super bullish when it fires in resistance, but all it takes is just a little bit of volume to kind of push back above. So we'll see. Again, only one cycle of data to look at, unfortunately. But it looks like it broke above this arc over here and unable to really hold, broke back down underneath this arc over here, found support at arc underneath, broke back above, got rejected over here again, broke down below, found support this time, and it's just been oscillating, forming this very, very nice ascending triangle over here. And it looks like it's trying to break above this arc over here, isn't it? Again, looks like it's getting above the weekly Ichimoku cloud over here, isn't it? But it's still at resistance. I want you to still be a little bit careful, although it's looking like some very bullish things are happening with the MCDX whales, with the GAN over here. Something nice is happening. I don't find the Fibonacci levels to be that helpful at this point. I think that if it's able to break above the zone over here, the next probably is going to be around like 3.2. Then it's going to hit some of the arcs up here around 5s. Above that, it's going to be 7 and 8s, and then above that, it's going to be the teens. There's a potential that this bull cycle might end up in the teens, but if things end up getting really parabolic, it might end up having all the way to like 30, maybe even the previous all-time high up here. Do I think it's going to go hit some of these Fibonacci levels up here? It'd be kind of crazy to think about. I wouldn't necessarily count on it, but we'll see what happens when price reacts through these arcs. If it decides to push through or it gets rejected, then you'll know. First thing first, though, let's get rid of this resistance zone right here. It looks like the wells are helping us. That is TeraWulf. I am getting a little tired. I'm going to take a break after this 40-minute video. Let me go through a couple other miners real quick and make a shorter video, and we'll get it done, and then we'll go from there. Thank you so much. Bye.